So now we're on Daf Lamed Gimel and Beis, and we're explaining the sheet of Rebbe, Eida Shabbat L'Miksasa, Lo Bat L'Kula. In other words, Rav Gamliel did not require more than a bezdin in order to misaken that he should not be mevatel get, and that's enough that he has two serving as a bezdin, and he doesn't need to gather together the entire group. And batla miktsasa batla kula. And he writes here in the footnote, Sha'omdim kach omdim daito shel baal sheksher mevatel chelik meidim kavanasa levatel bazes kulon. All right, so even though he was only mevatel in front of two shluchim, that bittul according to Rebbe is chal vis-a-vis all 10. And therefore, if let's say he was mevatel in front of Reuven and Shimon, and then Levi and Yehuda decide that there was no bittul on them, or perhaps they don't even know that there was a bittul on Reuven and Shimon, they're going to write the get, deliver the get, and lichtavu v'leisvu. They can write the get and deliver the get, and there's no violation of any isur. The get is kosher because those Eidim, those other two Eidim that signed on the get were not subject to bittul. So if she gets married to someone else based on this get, that's fine. And that's the shita of Rebbe. Just 1 second. Right. Rav Shimon Gamliel saw that once the Baal was mevatel part of the Eidim, it's an all or nothing proposition, then all the Eidim and the Shluchim are betelim. So even though he was mevatel to get only in front of Reuven and Shimon, those are the two Eidim that he was mevatel, then all the other 8 Eidim are also bata. In other words, his intention was to be mevatel all of them. Of the Hanoch, lo yadi. Now you're in a terrible situation because if he was only mevatel from a shnayim, the others don't know about Ozu v'kos v'yod and v'sharieshus ish the alma. But unbeknown to them, the Baal was mevatel all 10 because batla miktasa batla kula. And now as a result, she is going to mistakenly think that she is muteris li'nosi l'acherim, and it'll be a violation of the Isra Eishes Ish. And just like we said before, that if he's mevatel the shliach shelo b'fanav, maybe the woman will not know about the bittul and she'll get married. And therefore, Rav Gamliel made the takana that he cannot be mevatel the shliach again unless he does so in the presence of the shliach or the isha. So here too, he's not to be mevatel part of the Eidi again, shalom b'fnei shar ha'edim, and that's included in the takana from Gamliel of b'fana. Ibai same. Now the Gemara offers an alternative interpretation. The Kuli Alma, everybody agrees, whether it's Rebbe or Rav Shimon Gamliel, that Eida Shabbat L'Miktasa Lo Bat L'Kula. And the reasoning of Rav Shimon Gamliel is not because you cannot be mevatel part of the Eidim unless they're all 10 present because there's a chash michshol, but rather Eida Shabbat L'Miktasa Lo Bat L'Kula. So those Eidim that he was mevatel on batel, the others are still in the parsha, still in the league. So what then is the reasoning of Shimon Gamliel that if he was mevatel part of these Eidim in their presence, but the other Eidim were not present, there's an absolute rule, and this rule applies not just to our particular context, but in general in halacha, that anything that took effect in front of X number of people, let's say 10 people, you got to get together all 10 in order to be mevatel them. So therefore, if he was not mevatel from Asara, there's no bittul. And here also, the minui was done in the presence of Asara. Now you're going to have to do the bittul of that meeting in the presence of all the Asara. And if he wasn't mevatel in front of all of them, there's no bittul. And the bittul is not chal. The Gemara raises the following suffix. In the previous case, he was memana 10 people in their presence, but he didn't say kulchem. And perhaps in this case, Rav Shimon Gamliel will be moda that he can mevatel part of the edim shelo b'fnei acherim. Why? Time of Rav Shimon Gamliel. If we're going to assume, like the first interpretation that we had, that Rav Shimon Gamliel is based on the principle of Shabbat Shabbat but Lokula. And we have a chasham and michshol that other edim that did not know about this bittul, and they were in effect batel because of batel mitzvah batel kula, they will deliver the get. But in our case, certainly Rav Shimon Gamliel would concede that the bittul should be chal. Why? Because there's no chash for any sort of michshol. Hani. Right, the other edim that did not know about the bittul was not in their presence, is kaven di amalahu kulchem, since the Baal said to all of the edim kulchem, meaning you should all sign the get, lo matzi kasve v'yave. These edim that shalo bittul b'fneim, they cannot write the get for the wife and give it to her, because kulchem chasumu means that all of them have to be part of the chasim. So therefore, they realize that when they're signing the get, they absolutely are required to gather together all 10. Because they have to be mevatel the shlichim in front of all 10. So therefore, they'll know about the bittul. There's no question about giving the get without them knowing that there was a bittul. Or Dilma, should we say, no, let's go according to the second interpretation of Shimon Gamliel. Time of Shimon Gamliel, it's an all or nothing proposition. It was created with 10, and now you have to be mevatel in front of 10. Kol milsa this avdi afiyeh be'asor tzricha be'asor lemishlefeh. Hilkach afilu kulchem nami. Even in the case of kulchem, Rav Shimon Gamliel would say that the edim are not v'telim because he wasn't mevatel in front of everyone. And even with regard to those two that he was mevatel in their presence, that's not called bittul, because he wasn't mevatel in the presence of all of them. And therefore, all the edim are ksherim, they could write and sign and deliver the get. So now the Gemara is going to bring a proof that even in the case where the Baal said kulchem, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel still holds that he could not be mevatel unless he gathers together all the shluchim and he's mevatel b'fneim. Toshma omer l'shnayim tenu get li ishti. The Gemara is now working with the assumption that shnayim is like asara. So he tells two to write a get and deliver the get. Yochel levatel zeh shelo b'fnei zeh. Rebbe holds that he can mevatel one shliach, even though the second shliach is not present. Rav Shimon Gamliel Omer, any yochel levatel elo zeh b'fnei zeh. In other words, it's not enough to mevatel in front of one shliach. He has to gather both of them together. So the Gemara is medayek. Ha lishnayim dechi kulchem dami. In this case, that the Baal said to Shnayim to give the get, that's like kulchem. And that's what it says here in this brisa. So the equation is between a case of Omer L'Shnayim to the case of Omer Kulchem in Asara. Because basically Shnayim is like Kulchem as far as the Shnayim are concerned. So we need that both of them sign on the get. Excuse me, and that's poshut that, one aid cannot sign on a get, and there's no shash that maybe one of them, of the two, will go ahead and sign the get without his friend and deliver the get to the Isha. There's no room for such a gzera. Because the bittul itself is not valid. Upliget, nevertheless, Rebbe and Rav Shimon Gamliel have machlokas. So you see clearly that even in a situation where there's no chash michshol, like the Omer Kulchem, nevertheless, Rav Shimon Gamliel is of the opinion that he cannot be mevatel part of the Eidim or part of the Shluchim, Shelo B'fnei Yashar. He gets together all of them. So therefore, the reasoning for Takonis from Gamliel, who says that you're not allowed to do that, doesn't apply over here. Because the bittul is not chal unless he's mevatel in front of all the shluchim, right? The whole chash of Takonis Rav Gamliel was that the shliach doesn't know about the bittul, but here it's impossible. And the Gemara rejects it. Omer of Ashi, I could still say that the reasoning of Rav Shimon Gamliel is that he's choshesh, that the other shluchim who weren't present at the time the bittul might write the get. And therefore, he holds that Eidish and Botla Miktsasa Botla Kula. And therefore, in a situation where there's no chash, that no one could sign the get without the other aid, I mean, that everybody knows. So he can mevatel, and his bittul will be effective even in the presence of one without the presence of the other one. And therefore, even the brisa, ibi edek siva, if the brisa was dealing with a case of edek siva, that the Baal instructed them to write the get and then to sign the get, is hachinami. It's true that Rabbi Shimon Gamliel would be modeh, that you could be mevatel one of them, even though the other one is not present. And there's no chash, and we don't have to worry that one will sign on the get alone without the other one. And from the brisa, you can't prove anything at all. And you would prove that the tam is not because of chash michshol, because hachamay askina, the brisa is talking in case of edi halacha. The get was already written; it was sent to the woman in by these shluchim, these edim and shluchim, and now we have to be choshesh from michshol that one of them will go bidas atzma without his chaver, and he'll deliver the get, even though there are only two. So therefore, since even one could go and give the get, because we don't require edus and asinas I get, this Gemara reflects the shita Rabbi Meir that edi chasima karsi, or to interpret Rabbi Elazar as holding af edi mesira karsi. Now, when he's bringing vavatal one of the shluchim and the other shliach is not present, then both of them are betela, and that's based on the principle shlichus batla miktasa batla kula. And we evaluate that the Baal's das was to be vatal all the shlichim. Now, the other shliach doesn't know anything about the bittul. He's going to go ahead and give the get to the isha. And then he'll have a michshol of Eishes Ish. Hachidam mistabra. And it's logical to assume that we're talking about holacha. And these, of course, these shlichim were given the mission to deliver the get. The Ketani Seifa, in the second part of the Brisa, it says that if at the time that he appointed the shliach, Amar lezeh b'fnei atzma, lezeh b'fnei atzma, he isolated each shliach and commissioned each shliach separately to deliver the get to his wife. He didn't say in front of the two of them, go ahead and write a get and deliver it. Like, for example, let's say he gives the get to one of them and he says, deliver this get to my wife. Then he turns to another shliach and he says, look, I gave so-and-so the get to give to my wife. If you'd like, then you too go ahead and give the get as a team of two people. In any event, in this case, he wants to be mevatel. Yochel levatel zeh b'fnei zeh. Right? He could be mevatel this shliach, even though the second shliach is not present at the time. Why? Because they weren't appointed together. They were appointed b'zeh or zeh. Zeh b'fnei atzma, zeh b'fnei atzma. So we're not going to assume that his intention, the Baal's intention, was to mevatel both of them. But rather, the one who he was mevatel face to face, he's bottom. And therefore, if the other aide, who's now a shliach, who doesn't know anything about the bittul of the get, we don't have to worry about a chash michshol. Because there was no bittul on him, and therefore his nesina was a nesina kshera. If you're going to interpret the Brisa referring to Eidei Olacha Shapir, now I understand very well why the Brisa writes that the Baal was mamana each one separately. And they don't know about each other. They don't know that both of them got a meaning. So this is not Eidus, but rather Shlichus. And in Shlichus, for sure, it's effective to appoint two of them in a way like we described before, because Edom Tzrichim Litztarif Yach, they don't have to get together. Each one is an Eid B'fnei Atzmo or Shliach B'fnei Atzmo to give the get. Ela I Amrit, V'Eid Eksiva Mi Mitztarfe. If we're going to interpret the Brisa as referring to Eid Eksiva that have to sign on the get as a matter of the din of signing the get as eidim, mimitz tarfe. If he did not appoint them both together, are they going to be mitztarif or Omar Mar? We saw in the Brisa that if eidim come to testify in front of Bezdin, ein eidusa mitztarefes, ad sheyiru shneim kechad. So in order for the Eidus to be an Eidus Kshera of two Eidim, they have to see each other. And they both have to see the Maisa about which they're testifying. So we see clearly from this Brisa that we're dealing with Shluchim, that were appointed as Shluchim to deliver the get, each one respectively to that wife. So we don't need Tziruf. Each one of them stands on his own 2 feet. And therefore, the other one is kosher for Nesina Saget. And the Gemara rejects it. Dilma, perhaps, Rav Shua ben Karcha Svirale. Rav Shua ben Karcha holds that Eidus Miyuchedes is Kshera Meseta Sanhedrin against the Brisa. So if both of the Eidim did not see the Maisa together, but rather they saw it consecutively, Zeh bozeh achar zeh, then they can be mitzaref to the edus. And therefore, in every case, when the Baal says to one bifnei atzmo and to the other bifnei atzmo, even though the Bryce is talking about a case of edom achosmen alaget, but he holds that the edom can be mitzaref to the edus. He adds, "Ba'ofen zeh shelo ro es ha'maisa yachad." They did not see together. And therefore, there's no proof here to Rav Ashi, who said the Bryce is talking about Eidei Olocha. It could be Eidei Nesina, and we're reflecting the Shita of Rabbi Yeshua ben Korach. The Gemara now is going to address how we paskin halacha in these two machlokos between Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel. If he violated the takana, he was vatal the shlich shlo b'fanav, whether it's mevutal or not, and can be vatal the shlichus, part of the shluchim shelo b'fnei zeh. Amar Rab Shmuel bar Yehuda shamit minei Rabbi Abba Tarta. I heard two piskei halacha with regard to these two controversies from Rabbi Abba. Chada to Rebbe, Chada to Reb Shimon Gamliel. So I heard that there was one psak like Rebbe and a second psak like Reb Shimon Gamliel. V'lo yadana hai ki Rebbe v'hai ki Reb Shimon Gamliel. Amar Rav Yosef nechse anan. Let's analyze this and try to figure out in which machlokas did Rabbi Abba paskin like Rebbe and in which like Reb Shimon Gamliel. T'chi aser Rav Dimi. Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel. Omar Masechet. He tells us the following story, that Bezdin made a shuma and they evaluated the nechasim of a person. They sold it in order to collect an outstanding debt. And they made a mistake in the evaluation of 1/6 of the price and the market value of these nechasim. Either they devaluated or they overshot by a shishis. And in this case, we have machlokes between Chachamim and Rav Shimon Gamliel in Masechet Ksubas Daf Kuf. Chachamim are of the opinion that the mechira is completely null and void, like any din of shtus. Rav Shimon Gamliel holds that the mechira is still valid. Why? Because of the principle of koach bezdin yofa. The Asa Rebbe, Kidirei Chachamim, and Rebbe implemented the psak like the Chachamim, was mavatal the mechira. Omar lefon of Rebbe Prata, Benosh Rebbe Loz ben Prata, Ben Benosh Shel Rebbe Prata Gadol, in Cain, if the mechira is null and void, makov bezdin yafa. B'chazer Rebbe rescinded his original psak, which would be mavatal the mecher. He also Reb Shimon Gamliel, and he was mekayim the mecher. He validated the mechir. So we see here in this issue as to whether or not we apply the principle of Kei Makah Pes and Yafa, Rebbe was chozer bo, and he conceded and accepted the view of Reb Shimon Gamliel. Here also, in our machlokes, where Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel were arguing about a case where he was mavatal the shlich shelo b'fanav, whether it's batel or not batel, then Rebbe is going to accept the opinion of Reb Shimon Gamliel once he concedes that there's a principle called makov bezdin yafa. Umidahak Reb Shimon Gamliel, and now by process of elimination, if in this machlokus where the bittul shelo b'fanav is batel or not, he's going to paskin Rabbi Abba like Reb Shimon Gamliel, is therefore, if we go the other way, hach, in the second machlokus, where they can vatal part of the group of the shluchim, and without the presence of the rest of the shluchim, he's going to paskin like Rebbe, because we know that he paskin in one case like Rav Shimon Gamliel, and another case like Rebbe. The Afrab Yoshia Demin Usha Savar Chada Kerebi v'Chada Rav Shimon Gamliel. The Omer Rab Bar Chana Hamisha Savi Havina. We were five Canaan. Kami de Rabbi Yoshia in the presence of Rabbi Yoshia from Usha. Basar Hu Gavra Kameh. A person came in front of the great Dayanim, and the issue was a woman who demanded a divorce. And there is a halach of kofanas habal legarishes ishto. The ashkele gita al karche. And Rabbi Yoshia took the get against his will. In other words, kafa osamach yomer rotzani. And he told the five Canaan that they should write the get. Amalon, so Rabbi Yoshia said to them, Zilu atmore the kisfu. Go into a very hiding place that you shouldn't be found, and the Baal will not be able to be mavatal the shliach shalom b'fneim v'kisvu right to get. If you're going to tell me that with regard to the machlokas of a person who went and he was mavatal shalom b'fneim shliach is batel, the halach is like Rebbe is ki mitmere by habi. Well, what do we gain here by the fact that he was telling the Edom to go into hiding? The Baal could still be mavatal shalom b'fneim. El Shema Minok Rav Shimon Gamliel Svirale. Rav Yoshia accepted Rav Shimon Gamliel in this machlokes regarding bitlo shalom b'fanav, and Rav Shimon Gamliel says it's not but. And therefore, the fact that they would hide away would mean they're blocking the possibility of the Baal being mavatal. The Misak died of the Eid of Nami. And now you're going to tell me that in the second machlokas, whether you can mavatal part of the Eid or part of the shluchah, is Rabbi Yoshia holds like Rav Shimon Gamliel that he can't be mavatal unless he gets all of them together. Why did he have to tell them to go into hiding? Li badru, eat badru. All he had to do is tell them that they should spread themselves around, and the Baal won't be able to find them together in one place, and he won't be mevatel shnei kulam. Elishmami, no, we conclude therefore that Rabbi Yoshia holds Kada to Rebbe in one machlokes, in the case where he appointed 10 people as shluchim, whether he can mevatel part of them shalom b'fnei shar, is the halachas like Rebbe that he can mevatel shalom b'fnei kulam. V'chada, and in the other machlokes, if he went in and he was mevatel shalom b'fnei shliach, it's mevutal. Halachas Rav Shimon Gamliel, and therefore it's not mevutal. Rav Amar, in the name of Nachman, halacha ki Rebbe v'shtein. In both machlokes, we're going to paskin like Rebbe. And now the Gemara asks, how could Rav Nachman paskin like Rebbe in bitl shalom b'fanav that it is batel, is v'kli lesle l'Rav Nachman ma koch bezdin yofa. And we're going to now prove that even Rav Nachman signs on to this principle of ma koch bezdin yofa. Amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel. And here we turn to Daf Lamed Daled. Okay, this is already a new piece of Gemara. Okay, then. So thank you very much, and Shavua Tov. Have a great day. Thank you.